Duel Review is brought to you by NexusDigitalComics.com.
This week on Duel Review, for our comic we're doing Hack Slash, and then for our video game we're doing Luigi's Mansion. Then on our focal point we're going to take a look at an update of Irredeemable and Incorruptible.
That's right. This week's anime is Ronin Warriors, and this week's movie on Friday is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. One of my favorites. I'm RJ.
And I'm Nick.
Let's get to it.
Welcome to Monday the 11th of June. We are doing the comic Hack Slash.
That's right. Originally 2004. It's a present. They're still doing it. Tim Seeley started with Devil's Due Publications, and now it's Image. Unfortunately, Devil's Due kind of just dropped the ball. They didn't have things going well enough, so it jumped ship. I don't think there was really a love loss there or anything, but you can still find the first trade, Devil's Due. In fact, I have the first trade as Devil's Due. But it's also been released in Image, a slightly different cover, but pretty much same picture. Anyway, so I buy them in trade form. If you watched our Elephant Men review, I commented on the fact that these big omnibuses fall apart, unfortunately. They're cool, they are substantial, and they're awesome and sometimes cheap, but they really fall apart. They don't... I mean, this one you can flatten out, no problem with the binding.
That's what.
Yeah, that would be awesome if it happened. So it is available in omnibus, but I wouldn't recommend it just because a lot of people complain about it falling apart.
Get the nice small trades.
Yeah, I like them. They're really okay. Hack Slash is kind of just a bunch of single issue kind of things. A lot of independent storylines. There is some through stuff, but really you can take it out of context. In fact, right here I have number 1. And I have number 3, and if you read them together, it wouldn't really make a difference because they're pretty much a culmination of a bunch of different storylines anyway.
Right, like kind of episodic too.
This one, called Friday the 13th, has like Chucky and and then this one is more independent stories. It has a bunch of cameos from actual like comic book artists and stuff like that, which is kind of fun. The gal named Messy Stench is an actual person. So anyway. So Hack and Slash focuses on Hack, Cass, whatever. She is a victim that has now, as it says here, the slasher victim slashes back. So she's kind of taken control. She's very hard to kill, much like a slasher herself.
I didn't know she was an actual victim. From what I read, she was the daughter of a slasher.
Right. But yes, she's the daughter of a slasher. But she is a frequent victim.
Well, in any case.
But anyway, so she does fall into some of these, regular tropes. But she's she's always constantly worried about becoming a slasher herself. She teams up with Vlad, who is this big, he's a warm, cuddly teddy bear wrapped in a, very mangled
shell.
Yeah, he's got a crazy face and skull is all kind of lumpy, and he always wears this mask. He's just a big brooding dude, but he's very, he's very wise, and he's a little simple maybe in the way he speaks.
Yeah.
But I really love their dynamic. She's definitely more brash, and he is more caring, and I don't know. They just make a really fun team. I think they have a lot of fun little quips and stuff.
I agree.
So she's a very strong female character. She puts herself in lots of situations in order to like bait the slashers and stuff like that. But I really find it really kick-ass, and I avoided Hack Slash for a little while just because of like this whole thing where she's she's fairly scantily clad. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, she's pretty, and I like the goth thing, and she's more covered up than like Witchblade or something, which we've reviewed before. But I was just worried that it was going to be tons of fan service. But really, what I found is that there's very little fan service in that way.
Yeah.
There's more fan service in we all have grown up with horror films, and we're a fan of how they work, and whatever. So they play off of that, much like the documentary the mockumentary that we just did.
Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Yeah, Leslie Vernon. So it's a very, very familiar world. I love when they do like Chucky and stuff, although I wish they had made him like the bad guy all the time in that storyline. But anyway, they're very lovable, likable characters, and it's this world that you're familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have like all the stereotypical stuff. The one thing that I don't like, and I brought this up to you, is that perpetually, like in every issue, she's drugged in some way, and some guy wants to have his way with her or something. She always gets out of it, thank goodness. Like nothing ever happens, and you don't see anything. If you ever see even like a nip slip or something, it's all blurred out. So it's a fairly PG-13 kind of expose for a slasher comic.
Yeah,
whatever.
okay, yeah.
I mean, it's whatever. Some people might object to, a little bit too much skin or whatever, but I mean, literally, she's showing a lot of midriff, and there's no reason for the little panty shot other than to show she's got a skull down there. But I mean, her chest is fully covered, her legs and arms are usually covered.
Yeah,
she is
and
wearing
she doesn't
skirts
really
and
look like
stuff.
this in the actual comic.
Yeah,
she usually is.
She's even more. She does have fishnets or whatever, but she's usually more covered up. But anyway, so I really do have a lot of fun in this.
Right.
Some storylines are a little bit more abrupt and a little more adult than others, but
I think we should
particularly in this one, maybe, because it's...
I think we should talk about the difference between a serial killer and a slasher.
Okay, well, a serial killer is just someone who kills a lot. Maybe has motive, maybe not, whatever. A slasher is the typical, you kill them once, they come back, they've had some horrible thing happen to them, they have to be reanimated or something, like they're dead, but they... whatever. Just the stereotypical hard to kill, can't be killed. So they're always prepared for, okay, is this a slasher? We just killed him. So if he pops up, then he's a slasher. Right. If not, he's just a serial killer.
Basically a slasher is an undead serial killer.
Yeah, but where it's supernatural, it has something to do with
supernatural.
Voodoo sometimes, or whatever, like Chucky. Anyway, so they travel around the world, finding slashers and destroying them, protecting communities. And it's really just because Cass, has a heart to do it, but she's also fighting the fear that she might be one of them as well. Because all these characters are really obsessed. It's a lot like we talked about what anime was that? Corpse Princess. Where if you die when you're so obsessed with something, you become an undead living corpse, basically. So it's the same sort of thing. Like she's really afraid that so she has to exercise this. In hopes of not becoming that. Plus, she just feels for all these poor saps. Like the first story, I was telling Nick that like just the first comic really tells you everything you need to know.
And it does. It's really cool. It's very to the point.
There's it has a weird little pet thing, but it has kind of a stereotypical slasher. Although the origin story is not stereotypical. It's a little different, and it's not always explained exactly. How this is happening. That's really not what it's about.
Right.
It's about. That is a good shot of Cass and Vlad. Vlad is the big one. Cass is the pretty one.
Right. And Vlad tends to wear a gas mask, I guess, to hide his kind of
disfigured face. Pretty much. It's also kind of I don't know. It's one of those things, just like slashers want to strike fear into the heart, whatever. He has these awesome butcher knife things. They're not really butcher blades. They're just these awesome, slightly curved but straight on one.
They're kind of like machetes, they look like.
Yeah, just really fat machetes.
Yeah.
But it's kick-ass, whatever. I've read a lot of reviews where people are like, oh, there's not a whole lot of substance. Well, they're obviously missing the point, because it does have a lot of substance if you're a horror fan, or if you're just kind of interested in maybe they're complaining, and what they're complaining about is that it doesn't have a lot of through line in the stories.
Possibly.
And it really doesn't. Again, their relationship grows, and you have whatever. But like Vlad has these stupid little jokes, like heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, he
brought that up all the time in the first couple episodes, and like he gets into a new body in the Chucky one, and that's kind of fun because he's a girl and he's small and whatever. Mm. So they just have a lot of fun, and it's going on and on and on. There's a lot of content, and like I say, they're all like one shot. So these are collections. Like I think this one collects the Chucky and whatever. This one's a little bit not typical. This one collects the Girls Gone Dead. The euthanized, comic book carnage, and the slashing through the snow, and it collects all those storylines, and pretty much they're just one or two issues.
Right.
But yeah, I highly recommend it. I think they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, they are. I enjoy it. The art's pretty fun. There's they.
I was just going to say that apparently there was a movie. Either it has happened or they're hoping to make it happen.
A movie? Well, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, if it has happened, obviously it was horrible.
Yeah,
because we haven't heard of it. Yeah.
But yeah, the art is very fun. So in some places it's very typical, but they do a lot of like the red hues, just to kind illustrate,
Oh,
you know,
They had the Suicide Girls one, which I know you haven't read yet, but that one's interesting.
Ah.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz, and yeah, so just a lot of fun. I do recommend. If you're slightly interested in it, then you probably won't be disappointed.
And a lot of comics do a lot. I mean, there are a lot of horror-driven comics, and these are how do you say it? These are horror comics, or horror.
But they're so much more fun.
But they're a lot more fun. They're not like, you know, this is a strictly horror, you know, thing, and the whole setup is made to scare you. This is meant to be, you know, it's meant to be thrilling, but it's also meant to be kind of funny in that it really rips off of the movies that you grew up with. So.
Yeah, and it's not like an intellectual thing, like, you know, American Vampire might have some, you know, something to say or whatever. Right. This doesn't have a lot to say. It's just entertainment. I guess maybe, you know, I do like having things to say. I do like getting in depth, but I just like being entertained too.
Right. That's why
I like Marvel so much.
And that's why we like movies, you know, with explosions and stuff. Because every now and then.
Not all of them. Not Michael Bay. Transformers. Okay. Anyway.
Because sometimes we just want to put down the intellectual stuff and say, let's just see some explosions.
Yeah, blow crap up. All right.
Let's see Die Hard again.
All right, follow us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, tell us what you think.
Check out our website, nexusdigitalcomics.com, and buy our wares at spiderwolf.com. We have t-shirts, we have prints, we have card games, and we have short stories. Plus, we have Kickstarter projects going.
That's right. All right, guys. See you next time.
Yes!
Oh, I had mine backwards. It's not fair.
Oh, preparation.
Feeling. Coming up on Duel Review, it's Luigi's Mansion.
I knew a guy who had a different pair of glasses for like every outfit.
Tuesdays, Wednesdays.
He's a really cool dude.
Yeah, sounds real cool.
And fun fact, I once washed my glasses in boiling water. It didn't work out too well.
Yeah, because that's what they actually do to soften it so they can...
My lens is cracked. I could not see out of them. I needed a new pair. I boiled my glasses. It was a really stupid thing to do. I thought I could clean them. Get the crap off of them.
Ew, you had crap on it?
Oh yeah, it's horrible. I had a very shitty job.
Zing.
What am I saying about irredeemable and incorruptible?
We're going to update you on...
We're going to update you, and for our
on Mark Waid's comics, you could just say that, because you're probably not going to get irredeemable and incorruptible. Maybe. We can try it.
Irredeemable and incorruptible. An update on irredeemable and incorruptible. I can say it.
Okay.
This week on Duel Review, starting with our comic, we have Hack Slash. Then followed by that is our video game, Luigi's Mansion. And for our focal point, we're going to be taking a look at an update of Incorruptible and Irredeemable.
See, I told you it was hard. Just say Mark Waid's comic.
This week on Duel Review, for our comic, this week for Duel Review, This week on Duel Review, for our comic, we're doing Hack Slash, and for our video game, we're doing Luigi's Mansion. Then we have our focal point, Irredeemable and Incorruptible, an update. That's right.
For our anime this week, it's Ronin Warriors. And we end off the week with the movie...
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. This week on Duel Review, for our comic, we're doing Hack Slash. Then for our video game, Luigi's Mansion. And then for our focal point, we're doing Irredeemable and Incorruptible, an update. And then for our anime, it's Ronin Warriors. And for our movie, it's Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, one of my favorites. I'm RJ. And I'm Nick. Let's get to it. Except there's planes, trains, and automobiles. That's what I said. You said trains, planes, and automobiles. Did I? You did. This week on Duel Review, for our comic, we're doing... Let me start over. Planes, trains, and automobiles. Boop, boop. Who does that anymore? Boop, boop. Waka, waka. Ooga. On and on with this one. Oh, that's good. Let's do this. It's making my brain hurt. I'll wait for you. As I scratch my belly. That's not your belly! That wasn't. Oh, wait, yes it is. And my glasses weird. I saw that.